My name is Errol Valentine. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Siyakhula. Siyakhula means we are growing. We serve as elders at the Bay City Church, and we're part of the Respond disaster network, which falls under the warehouse.
My name is Tracy Valentine, and I'm married to this lovely gentleman over here. And I'm the other part of the co-founder. And we enjoy what we do.
So our first interaction with the warehouse was where we just spoke through, as a church, the different challenges we've had over time. And one of the representatives that came spoke us through a framework to allow us to look at what disaster looks like and how do we respond as a church. And when we chatted through it with our leadership and we looked at how this would work out practically, I'll never forget the first opportunity we had with a fire disaster where 80 families were affected. Respond came and assisted us. There were donations given through hygiene packs. There were different churches that came and donated water. We had some responded by saying, listen, we've got clothing. And so to see that being put together, and we had the church congregation after the service help us to load our vehicles, and we took 50 volunteers and we took and served the community. And that journey in, I think, 2017 never stopped from there to date, where we're still responding to various disasters.
At the beginning of the entire COVID relief journey, we would receive donations of food items and of clothing. And initially we would make up little parcels of clothing, random items, and just hand it out to the beneficiaries. And we realized we're actually just giving people what we think they need. And we said, no, this is not serving them in a dignified manner. Let's get everybody to choose what they need. And it just evolved into a beautiful little boutique.
When we spoke to Respond, and one of the things that came out very clearly in one of the sessions I'll never forget is, how do we serve the community with dignity? What does it look like? And that was a massive change for us and for the community. They felt empowered. People felt they weren't just receiving a handout. The ruling is that you don't put clothing into a color black, like a black bag, because it associates with dirt. And we changed that from bags to boxes, and we started to put our items into boxes. And just to see the families smile as they were looking at the clothing and selected that was really precious, because it came out of a learning experience. So we love what Respond does, and what it stands for is to network with various churches across denominations, across different communities, class settings, and things that was stereotypical around justice and what that looks like. And I'll never forget that the warehouse that hosted a conference a few years ago, and to see different communities come together, Respond has really done well to let us work together irrespective of our theological and religious backgrounds and differences. And to see even how the network strengthens that through zones and the way we're able to communicate on our chat groups, and how resources are made available freely when we meet each other in person, let alone via WhatsApp. It's been beautiful to see chats and conversations and opportunities where people says, listen, I have a contact with this, I can reach out to this one. And we've really seen communities been uplifted in the way we respond to disaster as a network.
Siyakhula works in the Capricorn community, which is also known as Vrygrond. And we see lots of challenges, experience lots of challenges with many of our friends in the area. The most obvious one being overpopulation. And, we may have up to 18, 19 people in one home. When there's a fire or there's flooding, everybody in that household is affected. If there's a fire, it's not just food that's gone, it's also their documentation. It's their life, their livelihoods. People are often very depressed and after a disaster, and we would come in and just try to assist in all the areas. So the dream here is for everybody to have a facility that's big enough for them to live in, to thrive in, enough beds for everybody to sleep on. People share, sometimes 5 people sleep on one bed, and it's not safe for the children and all of that. So our dream really for this area is more housing, better road networks, and just for everybody to know their worth. Because right now, the idea is all about survival.
With Siyakhula and the Bay City Church, we have seen the effects in our community of Vrygrond, Overcome Heights, Kalabantu, and also the surrounding areas of where crime is extremely high. And we also know of so much abuse that is taking place. And each and every community has an effect through what happens, and trauma affects all of us. And so we as an organization and as a church has looked at being a trauma-informed church. What that means is that we look at trauma not just from God's word, but also understanding what is the emotion and the heart of the person. And we're very excited to host in September a training session where we're able to work with the warehouse and through Respond and understanding trauma in the community context. And this is going to help us to equip not just ourselves, but also the community in how to deal with trauma and the many, many facets and layers that trauma holds. We as a church and as an organization looked at this understanding of what God said. What is this that you have in your hands? And we took that and we reminded of the loaves and the fishes that God would multiply when His blessing is on something. We had no bank account, we had no facility to work from, but we had a heart to serve the community, and we took what we had. And so our encouragement always to someone is, what is this that you have in your hands? What is the skill that you hold? If you're able to reach out to your neighbor, and work with your neighbor, or someone who has a cup of tea for someone, or something as simple and as small as just getting a few people together, and you work from that position, you'll see how God just commands a blessing and multiplies what is in your hands.